Coca-Cola CEO says it may ramp up use of plastic bottles and raise prices due to President Trump's 25% tariff on aluminum imports.
We think the Coca-Cola company system will do well, even if it gets a little choppier in the next couple of quarters.
Coca-Cola is doubling the price of a can, from $1 to $2, after Trump's aluminum tariffs took effect, triggering a nationwide spending squeeze. Overnight, the aluminum import tax jumped from 25% to 50%, hiking the raw material cost per can by 40 to 50%, which makes up 20 to 25% of the retail price. The impact is massive. Billions of Coke cans in the U.S. are now more expensive, affecting over 200 million consumers. As inflation and living costs soar, what was once an everyday refreshment has become a luxury. This isn't about CEOs, it's about real life. Lunch breaks, gas station stops, and diners where a Coke now feels like a splurge. The price hike stems from the America First tariff policy, aimed at shielding the U.S. metals industry from foreign competition. The new 50% tariff was announced at a steel mill in Pittsburgh, where Trump declared, "We can't let foreign countries bleed America dry." Almost instantly, domestic aluminum prices soared. According to Reuters, U.S. aluminum premiums hit a record 60 cents per pound, about $1,323 per ton, just days after the policy kicked in. Coca-Cola, among others, became an unintended casualty. Aluminum makes up over 70% of each can, and most of it is imported. Canada supplies over 60% of U.S. aluminum, with Brazil and others contributing far less. This reliance drove up production costs, leaving consumers to absorb the impact. Closing this import gap with local supply isn't easy. Since 1980, U.S. aluminum smelters dropped from 33 to just 6, with only 4 fully or partially active. U.S. Geological Survey data shows they're operating at just 52% of capacity, forcing the country to import over half its aluminum. Rebuilding capacity would take years and billions in infrastructure. With no short-term fix, the added costs are being passed to consumers. Each Coke can now carries 40 to 50 cents in added aluminum costs, 20 to 25% of total production. That pushes the retail price to $2, turning a simple drink into a luxury, especially for families already squeezed by healthcare, rent, and fuel costs. This mess is a byproduct of rushed protectionism. The policy aimed to boost domestic industry, but it hit downstream sectors hardest, where raw material costs dominate. The tariff was imposed too fast, without giving U.S. producers time to ramp up, creating a supply crunch during peak summer demand. As the first wave of higher-priced cans hit shelves, over 200 million Americans felt the pinch. Next, we'll explore Coca-Cola's response to this cost crisis. But for now, picture this. At gas stations and corner stores across the U.S., that once affordable Coke is now a $2 indulgence. Will Americans change their soda habits? Find out in the next segment. Since Trump's 50% aluminum tariff, can production costs have spiked? Reuters confirmed U.S. aluminum premiums surged to 60 cents per pound, translating to roughly 50 cents extra for every 12-ounce Coke can, about 0.75 pounds of aluminum. That might seem minor, but with billions of cans produced annually for over 200 million consumers, it's a major financial blow. This isn't Coca-Cola's first hit. When the 25% tariff launched in 2023, they raised prices by 3 to 4% to cope. But this time, the stakes are higher, forcing Coke's leadership to choose between profit and affordability. Raising prices risks pushing away loyal Coke fans, especially younger and low-income consumers who rely on $1 cans. But freezing prices could slash hundreds of millions in quarterly profits, with over 28 billion cases sold annually. Switching packaging isn't a simple fix. PET bottles cost 5 to 7 cents more than aluminum and conflict with Coca-Cola's plastic reduction goals. Glass is more eco-friendly but heavier and fragile, raising shipping costs by 15 to 20% and driving prices even higher. This isn't just Coca-Cola's problem. It's a broader warning about unchecked protectionism. The 50% aluminum tariff, imposed without a support plan for U.S. producers, pushed the cost burden onto 200 million Americans. Domestic smelters run at just 52% capacity and need years to scale up. No short-term solution exists, and even big promos and flashy marketing can't distract from the frustration of paying double for a basic soda. Within a week of the tariff, convenience store Coke sales dropped 8 to 10%, according to early NPD Group data, and that's likely to worsen as inflation rises. Now Coca-Cola faces a tough choice. Stay popular or stay profitable. Neither is easy. When people see the extra surcharge baked into every can, they'll wonder if the brand can rebuild trust. That depends on Coca-Cola's long-term game plan. For now, each can is a symbol of a brutal trade war. Hit by the 50% tariff, Coca-Cola scrambled to stay afloat, moving production to Mexico and Brazil to save on labor and infrastructure. But under the new rules, all imported cans face the same steep tariff. Even after Brazil cleared a key partner plant to resume operations, drinks sent back to the U.S. got slammed with full import duties. With the U.S. market tightening, Coca-Cola shifted focus abroad. Q1 2025 reports showed North American volumes fell 3%, but sales surged in China, India, and Brazil. Coke Zero Sugar jumped 14% in those markets. This global demand helped cushion the tariff blow and proved the company's international push is working. Coca-Cola didn't stop at relocating. In filings, CFO John Murphy revealed they paused R&D and cut ad spending to conserve cash, trimming global ad budgets by 10% and pausing big sponsorships. But these cuts weakened Coke's media presence, raising concerns about long-term competitiveness against rivals like PepsiCo, which kept investing in marketing. Refusing to let Coke become a luxury item, the company helped form the Food and Beverage Alliance, joined by PepsiCo, Monster, and others, urging the U.S. to lower tariffs to 30 to 35% and revive domestic supply. Canada's Chamber of Commerce also condemned the hike for disrupting trade and threatening key metal sectors. So far, the U.S. hasn't budged, leaving the alliance uneasy. Coca-Cola's response, from shifting production and trimming spending to lobbying in D.C., shows how hard the 50% tariff hits the whole beverage industry. As U.S. consumers tighten their wallets, Coke's challenge is clear: offer value in a squeezed market. Watch closely. This battle between protecting U.S. industry and keeping prices fair isn't over yet. The aluminum tariff didn't just hit Coke, it rocked the entire soft drink industry. PepsiCo had to raise prices or absorb the hit, threatening profits. Right after the tariff, U.S. aluminum prices jumped 54%, pushing can prices to record highs. A Spirits Europe report warned beverage revenues could drop 20% in 6 months as retailers rethink their orders. PepsiCo admitted its North American soda sales dropped 3% last quarter, even after raising prices 5%. Combined, these signals suggest the U.S. soda market could lose 15 to 20% in revenue just months after the tariff's impact. The pressure didn't end with the tariff, it tore through the supply chain. Aluminum can producers slashed orders and scaled back, with an internal Alcoa report warning that the 50% tariff could cost up to 80,000 jobs in aluminum-related sectors, including can making. Around 5,000 workers at Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and regional bottlers now face layoffs or reduced hours as plants cut capacity to stay afloat. Consumers feel the impact too. Coke and Pepsi can prices have jumped 15 to 30%. What used to cost $1 now sells for $1.25 to $1.30. For students and hourly workers, these hikes push them toward cheaper drinks like bottled water, tea, or budget sodas. Cafeterias and convenience stores are swapping out cans for plastic and glass, not just for savings, but because no one wants to overpay for soda. Aluminum can shortages have also shaken the just-in-time retail model, causing sporadic stockouts and price swings. A once common product now feels like a luxury, raising serious questions. If Coke cans aren't safe from tariffs, what's next? Even Republicans began to split. In Georgia and Ohio, local businesses and lawmakers warned that the 50% tariff could crush the beverage industry. Some urged the White House to reduce it to 30% to save jobs. A House bill to do just that stalled, while Senate Majority Leader John Thune refused to intervene, saying the market should decide. Public backlash exploded. TikTok's hashtag #SaveOurCoke appeared in over 2 million videos, many lamenting, "No more 99 cents." Teen creators posted viral clips exposing doubled Coke prices. Pepsi jumped in, launching a YouTube campaign promoting glass bottles, which aren't taxed, as a cheaper alternative. When everyday costs rise, trust in trade policy falls. Heading into the midterms, many voters may see protectionism not as security, but as a threat to their wallets. What do you think? Would you pay more for Coke or switch to something cheaper?